Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. We meet again. My name is Ani Munira Muhammad. I am from Kajian Kualitatif.com. In today's video, I wish to share with you some of the types of interview questions that are normally asked in a qualitative research. Now, I wish to qualify myself a little bit here. Although I will be presenting to you around 6 to 7 types of interview questions, by no means that these interview questions are linear in nature, in the sense that they are independent from each other. Okay, for example, if you ask one question from the first type of question, you cannot ask the second type of question or the third type of question. Now, these type of interview questions are also not chronological in order, in the sense that you need to ask the first type of question first and then move on to the second type and then the third type and then the fourth type, for example. No, these types of interview questions are by no means chronological in order. They can be mixed here and there. In fact, I'll be showing you these types of interview questions which are holistic in nature, in the sense that one question could be falling under any one or more of these type of questions. For example, if you ask one question to your interview participant, that question could be a probing question because you need more information. It could also be a follow-up question to a previous statement already made by the interview participant. Okay, now that we have that out of the way, I think I should get started. Let's begin with the first type of interview question. The first type is introducing questions. Through these type of questions, you will be introduced to the topic at hand of the subject matter that you are doing the research. For example, why did you? Or can you tell me about? Can you tell me something about? Okay, for example. Now, by asking these introducing questions, you will be getting a clearer picture of the general overview of the subject matter at hand. Another type of question is follow-up questions. Through these type of questions, you can elaborate further what the interview participants said based on their initial answer. For example, when you ask a question, your interview participant responded accordingly, and you want to follow up on that question, you will be asking them, example, what did you mean? Or can you give me more detail? Okay, these type of questions, from these type of questions, you will be able to get further elaboration on the interview participant's initial answer. Next, probing questions. By employing probing questions, you can employ direct questioning to follow up what has been said and to get more detail, because probing is always asking something which is based on the interview participant's response, and you want to get a clearer picture, a more detailed explanation. You are probing the interview participant. For example, okay, do you have any examples? Or could you tell me more about, could you say more about, okay? Now, these probing questions will be very useful when the time comes you want to analyze your interview transcripts, when the time comes, because any clarification that you need from the interview participants would mostly be um, attended to by the interview participants when they respond to your probing questions. Another type of questions is specifying questions. You want to have a determinate answer to a specific questions. For example, you want to request further information or clarification about what has been said. You need your interview participant to specify to you. Maybe you have a general idea already about that, but you need the response to come from your interview participants. For example, okay, what happened when you said that? Or what did he say next? Or what happened next? What is your experience after that? Okay, all these types of questions are specifying questions. You are actually giving the room to the interview participant to tell a little bit more about your question at hand, and it will help you to get more richer and thicker explanation in relation to that um, subject matter at hand, right? Another type of questions is direct questions. Normally, questions with a yes or no answer are direct questions. I don't always advise my students to ask direct questions because the answers will normally be close-ended ones. However, when the time permits, you may ask direct questions. You may want to leave these questions until the end so that you don't lead the interview participant to answer in a certain way. Okay, after you have gotten all the relevant information based on your interview protocol, for example, then you can go with the yes or no questions because at that time you would have already gotten all that you wanted. Okay, and of course we don't want to appear like we are leading the interview to give a certain answer. You can also ask indirect questions. You can ask this question to get the interviewer's true opinion. Okay, for example, you could be asking something in relation to that subject matter, but from a different angle or a different context, so that you can try to explore what is the opinion or feeling or perception of your interview participants. And normally, when you ask something which is outside of the scope of the subject matter, not really outside, but it's still related, but in a different context, that interview participant could be revealing to you his true opinion. Structuring questions is another type of interview questions. For example, you have 5 questions in your interview protocol, and moving from question 1 to question 2 to question 3, then that's called structuring questions. These will help you to move the interview on to the next subject. For example, okay, thank you very much. Now moving on to, okay, or next I want to talk about, or next I wish to inquire about. Okay, for example, so these are like connecting your subject matter A to subject matter B, okay, so that you can uh, give the impression to your interview participant that, oh, okay, I'm done with the first part, now I'm moving on to the next part. This is very important because you want to keep the momentum going, okay, but the bigger subject matter, the scope of the research is still the same, but different parts of your interview questions. Silence is an interesting type of interview question. Okay, although you don't utter anything using your mouth, you'll be actually using your body language, because when you keep silence through such pauses, you can suggest to the interview participant that you actually want them to answer further in relation to your question. Okay, for example, you have asked question A and your interview participant give his or her response, and then you keep silent, you just look at him. So then he will realize that okay, I'm supposed to give more explanation, but please don't exercise this tip uh, all the time, otherwise the interview will not take place properly. At times when you feel like it is proper to keep silent, then it also depends on the circumstances of the case. If your interview participant is the type of person who does not understand, then he might think, oh, okay, are we done? Okay, then it will fire back to you. Now, again, I would advise this depends on the um, background, on the circumstances of that interview participants, and also the setting that you are meeting this person. Right, another type of question is interpreting questions, because this is also quite important, because in the sense that when you ask questions, your interview participants will be responding accordingly to your question, and you have that moment that you find that you can conceptualize or you can understand what this interview participant is talking about. So you will straight away ask the question, do you mean that by saying that blah blah blah, or is it correct if I say that blah 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 blah? Okay, and it means that you are coming up to the interpretation at that point in time when you are still in front of the interview participant, and you straight away ask that interview participant if this is what they actually mean. This is like you are At the same time you are conducting the interview, you are actually validating your finding as well, because that person might not be using the same terminology that you understand, but when you ask them interpreting questions, they will say, aha, that is what I actually mean. So it's like validating your findings from the eyes of your interview participant. So I hope this type of interview questions can shed some light to you in relation to some of the questions that you can try to structure around for your interview questions. This video should be watched together with the previous video that I have uploaded to the YouTube channel on uh, tips for conducting interviews. Okay, because these are the types of questions and those are the tips. Okay, all right. At this point I wish to thank you for your kind attention in watching my video. My name again is Ani Munira. I am from Kualitatif.com. I highly recommend you to subscribe to our YouTube channel and to follow our website at Kualitatif.com for more interesting and informative videos and sharing on qualitative research. Okay, thank you very much. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.